Read the first chapter of Star Wars: The High Republic, Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. Hopefully that's how you pronounce it. By Joshua Yale. Wait, who is it by? Charles Soule or Joshua Yale? I get what that means. But Clownfish TV brought this to my attention, and they said that the thing was incredible cringe, pure cringe, from Neon and Geeky Sparkles. I love getting information from them. I disagree with them maybe on a few things here and there, maybe how they cover the story, but again, it's their opinion. I respect it. They're putting out good information, and I'm grateful that they at least are respecting the fans. It's like the fandom menace. I do agree that you respect the fan base. That's the most important part. You can have your own storyline. You can make it the way that you want, but if the fans don't like it, you don't call them bigots. You don't call them racists. You don't call them wrong. You say, like, I'm sorry, I thought this is what would work. I personally like it, and I'll save this for a different time when other people might want it. But for right now, what do you, the fans, want? And even if you messed up, it's okay. That's the redeeming quality. That's what's amazing. And if we go back to this, one thing that I'd like to point out is that IGN has the IGN Queerentine Pride live stream. And the biggest reason as to why, I'm going to hide this, the reason why I disagree with the LGBT plus group, I disagree with Pride Month, I disagree with Black Lives Matter, I disagree with the Democrats, I disagree with the Republicans, is that they are all political parties. Now, I love to hear somebody's reasoning as to why they believe that. But the moment you start saying, like, hey, you're evil, you're dumb, you're stupid, or, okay, you can be bigoted, I'm just going to let you be bigoted. Like, whoa, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. Now, I might have an affinity towards one of those groups, if you could probably guess which one it is, but just because I might disagree with somebody who believes himself to be a Democrat, who just doesn't pay attention to politics, we can still come together about a story and maybe talk about it, have fun, be friends. That doesn't matter. It's a political movement. Please get your politics out of things. It's like, oh, you disagree with the pride movement, therefore you hate gays. It's like, okay, let's go with that. Silly people, get the politics out. Gosh. And one thing, I even had to do this entire thing over again, the recording, because I started contradicting myself because I actually started thinking it through. Star Wars: The High Republic, The Light of the Jedi, Charles Soule. If we go to the very bottom before we start getting into it, and we will read the entire thing. We'll go over it, we'll make our criticisms about it, and more importantly, we'll create our own, what is it called? The High Republic, Light of the Jedi. We'll create our own story based off of that. Whatever information that we get here, we'll make it better. Or at least what I think is better. And then I'd love to hear your feedback about what could be improved by it too. And the first comment that I saw from 4 days ago is the ruin. Is it ruin? From Family Guy. It feels like a 5-year-old is behind all the creative decisions at Disney. It is the time of the High Republic, a peaceful union of like-minded worlds where all voices are heard, and governance is achieved through consensus, not coercion or fear. Make the Galactic Republic great again, which is hilarious. It's like, oh wait, maybe it was once great at some point. It became bad, and then they want to make it great again. Huh? That is just hilarious to me. So it sounds like a lame ass "my story is cooler than the other story" BS. Now I disagree with that ending. I can respect it. I can understand that, but I disagree with it. And One thing about this is that I don't personally think that this is written by a 5-year-old, just this one line alone. Because there is a thing with Superman that Superman is a story about a man who embodies hope. He's a man that goes around and he does what he possibly can, doing what the American way of life is. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. It's not that he embodies all those things, but it's just like he's an embodiment of rightness. And we try. It's like let's just attribute that to him being like a Jesus Christ. Now I'm not saying that he is, but again, there's more of a. It has that hope feel. It has that, oh, it's amazing. Now again, the world in which Superman lives in, Superman fights crime. He fights what is wrong. He goes after the bad guys. He doesn't kill them, but he takes them down without killing them. That's a wonderful thing. But here, it's not about fighting. It's not about doing what is right. It feels like socialism. It feels like communism. It feels like the SJW. It feels like that. It's just like over and over and over with, hey guys, it's like a bunch of people from Chaz have come together in a group and started saying, guys, it is time of the High Republic, a peaceful union of like-minded worlds where all voices are heard and governance is achieved through consensus, not coercion or fear. That's what it feels like. And it's just over and over and over, good stories have conflict. And it's like one thing that would be amazing is that they were trying to achieve this, but then they realized the ins and outs, the rights and the wrongs from it. And then they start adjusting to what is good, what is moral, what is correct. Now, again, it irks me. I'm not going to say that it's actually written by a 5-year-old, but gosh, I've just been exposed to too much like, guys, let's just be peaceful. It's like, okay, but there's bad stuff in the world. No, don't talk about it. It's like, what? Why does it make any sense? So, let's read this next one. For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic before the Dark Times, before the Empire. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Fear is what will keep the local system in line. Fear is the battle station. Grand Moff Tarkin. It seems pretty in line with Star Wars to me. I guess it's just more vogue to hate Star Wars. See, I don't really get this. Yeah. It also helps that Star Wars is... Okay, it's just people going after it. And again, we need to go through. We need to go from line by line, but the first paragraph was just cringy. It was just weird. Like, okay, let's get through it. So, Star Wars, The High Republic, Light of the Jedi, by Charles Soule. So, the Force is with the galaxy. Wait, the Force is with the galaxy? No, that sort of makes sense, technically. Wait. Okay, whoa. I'm already having issues with this. The Force is the Force. Let me say that again. The Force is the Force. It's not with or against the galaxy. Now, unless the Light of the Jedi, the High Republic, which just sounds so weird, the High Republic, your officials. It's like, okay, you ain't better than me, bruh, come at me. It's like, I challenge you. Oh, I am so an antagonist. The Force is with the galaxy. Now, this feels like this feels like something that you tell your children. This isn't a good story, because you can have adult-themed stories that when I was watching Star Wars, again, the prequels, it was very adult-themed. There was much death. Death. It wasn't just the good the good is out there. It's with us as always. That's not what the reality was with Star Wars. Again, what I grew up with, and again with the prequels, I understand and respect. Why people love the original 4 through 6. It's just like me with the prequels. I saw them first. They came technically before. They were the technical prequels. They are the legitimate prequels, so I kind of consider them to be the first ones, even though they were not. So, the Force is with the galaxy. This feels like something that you tell your 5-year-old. It's not something that comes from a 5-year-old. This is like a story that you tell your 5-year-old. Doesn't feel like Star Wars. Star Wars is always about that force between the good and evil, and the good shall rise, the evil shall rise. It's almost cyclical, which I don't. That's not really reality, but technically it is. Is that there's this rise and fall of things, and yeah, it's not just good. But again, this is something that you can tell your 5-year-old. Which again, this isn't a bad story so far. But it's not with the galaxy. it's just the Force. The Force permeates through the galaxy. You could even start it with that. You know what? Give me one moment. Okay, I opened up a text file with Sublime Text, and we're just gonna write our own story. Okay, we're just gonna write it with this. So we're gonna come down here, and we're just going to put the force permeates. Pulses. Wait, pulses or just permeates? Okay, permeates. Now, I'm not a huge diver into the lore of Star Wars. I'm a great fan of almost... Rogue One, I think, was the greatest Star Wars film, period. Rogue One. It just was amazing. Now, I would personally say that what comes after that would be the third Star Wars, the Rise of... That's not Rise of Skywalker. What am I thinking of? The Sith thingy. Rise of the Sith. The Revenge of the Sith. Okay, there we go. I'm that much of a fan. So, but the Force permeates throughout the galaxy. Okay, how much is that better? I just think it's so much better just to start out with that. It is the time of the High Republic, a peaceful union of like-minded worlds where all voices are heard and governance is achieved through consensus, not coercion or fear. It is a time of ambition, of culture, and inclusion of great works. This feels like it's written... Again, it doesn't feel written as from 5-year-olds. It feels it's written by kindergarten teachers who are telling a story to 5-year-olds. Again, this is something that you tell your 5-year-olds. This is not something that you tell adults. And Star Wars is always adult-themed, even though it may have... It's again, adult-themed for children. So it's like Shrek. Shrek is very much a child's show, but it has so many adult themes that both the adult and the child can watch it and still have fun. So that's... Again, I might be wrong on that. I'd love for somebody to correct me on like what is Star Wars, or more importantly, what is Star Wars to you? I'd love to know what Star Wars is to you, because I've been telling what is Star Wars to me. I'd love to hear what Star Wars is to you. So the visionary Chancellor Lina So leads the Republic from the elegant city world of Coruscant. Wait, wasn't Coruscant destroyed? I don't know. Located near the bright center of the galactic core. But beyond the core and its many peaceful colonies, there is a rim, inner, mid, and finally the border of what is known. Holy crap, like, I can do better writing than that. There is the rim, the inner, mid, and finally the border of what is known. No, that's actually, technically it's okay writing, at least to me. I'm not an avid reader, but I'm just going with my gut reaction here. It's like, okay. The outer rim. What about the thing beyond the outer rim? Ooh. What you could add right here. Is, oh, dang it. There we go. You could add, you know what, screw this. This is going to take a little bit too long. I'll be right back. Okay, that was just going to take way too long. So I just cut out that text. So let's just read it and make it up as we go. So, yeah, the rim. These worlds are filled with opportunity for those brave enough to travel the few well-mapped hyperspace... Wait, what? This is what I heard from Clownfish TV, but when I actually read it myself, it does seem stupid. These worlds are filled, the outer rim, all of the rims, all the cores and circles and stuff. These worlds are filled with opportunity for those brave enough to travel the few well-mapped hyperspace lanes leading to them, though there is danger as well. Why are there a few well-mapped hyperspace? Like, what about those brave enough, again, from what Clownfish TV was mentioning, brave enough to travel those few well-mapped hyperspace lanes? What about the unmapped hyperspace lanes? What about the non-well-mapped? What about the hyperspace lanes that don't exist that no one knows of? Like, okay, it's like you're saying, like, guys, go only to where's familiar. That's, again, it's like you're talking to a child. It doesn't sound... Again, it sounds like a kindergarten teacher. Again, no knock to kindergarten teachers. We need them. It's amazing. And I'm going to attribute something that's very sexist. Women are phenomenal with children. It's biological, and we would have died without that biology. It's amazing how biology works. It really is. I don't know. I don't care to understand it because there's other things that I want, but it is such a blessing. It really is. I'm grateful women are out there doing what they do with children. But I'm going to say something that's very unpopular. This sounds like a woman talking to kids. Men don't talk like this. This is what a woman does when they're talking to a child. And it just seems kind of like, okay, like it seems childish, not from a child, but you're catering to a child. Hyperspace lanes leading to them, though there is danger as well. Okay, the Outer Rim is a haven for anyone seeking the escape of laws of the Republic, and is filled with predators of every type. Well, okay, yeah, like, isn't the Outer Rim a... Okay, so the only people in the Outer Rim are evil. They're ugly. They're stupid. Okay, I just want to, like, this is one of the reasons why I really harped onto the LGBT flag right here, and why at the very bottom he said 5-year-olds or whatever. It's like, it feels like the SJW nonsense we have been getting over and over and over and over. The Outer Rim is a haven for anyone seeking to escape the laws of the Republic. So anybody escaping the laws of the Republic, just to want to let you know that, oh, police are incredibly important, because those are the people that are going to enforce the laws of the Republic, because the Republic is moral and good. I'm just saying. It's like, okay, so these guys must be for the police. I'm just saying. It's like, don't make this political. I'm just saying they need the police. Like, it's like, how are you going to enforce the Republic's laws? Okay. And is filled with predators of every type. But I just want to make certain, these people who seem all high and mighty in their white gowns are the controllers of the core, the inner ring, not the inner ring, but the core, the center. This seems like socialism. No, this seems like communism. We amazing people in the very center who have complete control of the laws of the land, and all you people out there, the further and further you go, because from the Outer Rim is filled with predators of every type. Well, then what does that make the people who are in the Inner Rim? It's like, well, wait a second. Are they more or less moral because of the distance between you and the center core? I'm just pointing that out, but I think that's a good idea if you want to roll with it. I'm just trying to make fun of it, and I think I'm doing it successfully. You know what? I'm going to give myself a round of applause. Yay! Oh, my ego is going to grow 3 times that day. Oh my gosh, how the Grinch Stole Christmas. Okay, Chancellor So has pledged to bring the Outer Rim worlds into the embrace of the Republic through ambitious outreach programs. What the fuck? What the fuck? Outreach programs? Holy shit, guys. Like, y'all aren't even hiding it anymore. Wow. Outreach programs? What? Okay, you want to make a really good story? What if those outreach programs were filled with unsuccessful results? Their intention was good, but the results sucked. That would be a phenomenal story to reach, because now it's not just black and white, but more importantly, outreach programs. Okay, like, gosh, this is literally catering, like, okay, I understand that this is very much personal and may not be objectively, like, I know that people actually think and feel this, and it's good. It's good to for somebody who's out there who wants to have outreach programs. Good, that's a good thing. But it's like, guys, outreach programs work. Oh, that sounds like a political statement. It really does. Such as the Starlight Beacon. Now, what would be awesome is the Starlight Beacon. Okay, I'm just going to tell you a story right here, just at the top of my head. The Starlight Beacon, whatever they talk about the outreach program, that's not what it is. The outreach program, the Starlight Beacon is a beacon that literally beams light, and it's the symbol of the hope within the people in the core. And if it ever goes off, then the people in the core lose hope. And because they have put their faith in a machine, a mechanism rather than an idea, then their entire system starts to be crumbled from the inside. Or maybe people from the inside start to say, like, hey guys, why are we having the hope from the Starlight Beacon? You could create a battle from that. That the reason that they put the Starlight Beacon there to begin with was because they wanted to have was because of them creating this new High Republic, this in the core, that we're going to create this utopia, this society that's amazing. And the Starlight Beacon is going to represent that. And if the starlight, and when the starlight beacon is destroyed by, let's just say, pirates or renegades, then they actually lose hope, or maybe they lose their sight on things, or maybe they don't care about the starlight beacon. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't even remember what the starlight beacon was there to begin with. So everybody's just roaming around, and that's actually something that I would love to. That's a later development thing. But the thing is that they put their faith in the starlight beacon, and when the starlight beacon goes away, the thing starts to crumble. Where the people who are actually the outlaws, not that they're good, but they put their faith into something that's greater than a thing. They put their faith in an idea or something like that. Now you could probably play with that a little bit more. That's incredibly I won't say juvenile, but in its adolescences. So, but that's a pretty cool story you could follow. So, order and justice are maintained on the galactic frontier by Jedi Knights, guardians of peace who have mastered incredible abilities stemming from a mysterious energy known as the Force. The Jedi work closely with the Republic, like they have before, and have agreed to establish outposts in the Outer Rim to help any who might require aid. Okay. I thought the Outer Rim was filled with, like, evils and, like, what they said earlier, filled with predators of every type. And they're going to put Outer Rims might require aid. It's like, okay. No, that's pretty good. Okay, I think I'm trying to find something wrong with this, but I think that's okay. But it sort of feels a little off. I don't know what it is. Hopefully anybody out there can actually tell me what that is. It's just, it feels off. It doesn't feel wrong, it just feels off. Like, yeah, okay. Because that sort of contradicts what they said within this last statement in the second paragraph. Okay. The Jedi of the Frontier can be the only resource for people with nowhere else to turn. Okay, they're trying to be a... Wait. Okay. I think I know what they're going for. It seems as though to me that they're... Give me a second to think about this. Try to find the words for it. They're trying to go for, like, the Owls of Ga'Hoole. And for anybody who has not seen Owls of Ga'Hoole, it's a show, it's a movie specifically with owls. I think it was originally a book, and they turned it into from DreamWorks, they made a movie out of it. The movie's amazing. The animation, the graphics is phenomenal. I will fight on that hill. I will die on that hill. And the main hero finds hope, like, within the High Republic. It's like finds hope, and there's this greater society out there for us. And the thing with that society is that it's this amazing place for us to find hope and to believe that there's someone or something better out there for us. So that's sort of the feeling I'm getting. But again, it's like they better... Okay, let me just keep reading. I think that's where they're going to be going with it, which it's not bad. Yeah. Okay, so though the outposts operate independently and without direct assistance, how do they not have any direct... If they don't have any direct assistance from the great Jedi Temple, the great Jedi Temple. Oh, okay. Not just from the Jedi Temple, the great Jedi Temple on Coruscant. They act as an effective deterrent to those who would do evil in the dark. Okay. Again, this sounds like you're talking to 5-year-olds. It's not bad. It's just it doesn't feel like Star Wars. It feels as though you're trying to give a child that type of story where they're going to grow up and remember, like, the superheroes, Superman and stuff. And it's like you realize and remember and that actual Superman stories are kind of grim at times. But that's okay. I don't know. Okay, gotta keep reading. For a few can stand against the Knights of the Jedi Order. I think we've seen that before somewhere. But there are always those who will try. Chapter 1. Hyperspace, the Legacy Run. 3 hours to impact. All is well. Captain Hedda Cassette. Cassette? Yeah, I gotta admit, that's a pretty cool name. Captain Hedda Cassette. Okay, that actually sounds weird. Captain Hedda Cassette. It sounds weird, but I'll roll with it. I don't know if I could come up with a better name. Let's come up with a better name. Captain Holji Udabar. Actually, that sounds pretty cool. Captain Holji Udabar. Ooh, I like that name. That sounds pretty cool. Reviewed the readouts of the and displays built into her command chair for the second time. She always went over them at least twice. She had more than 4 decades of flying behind her and figured the double check was a large part of the reason she was still flying. The second look confirmed everything she'd seen in the first. Okay. It's not bad. I think it's pretty good. That last sentence kind of is weird. Like, it's okay. All is well. All is well. I like the theme of it. It's like, she's a very well-to-do captain. Yeah, that's what a captain should be. Competent. So, all is well, she said, out loud this time, announcing it to her bridge crew. Time for my rounds? Lieutenant Bowman, you have the bridge. Time for my rounds? What are you talking about? Acknowledged, Captain, her first officer replied, standing from his own seat in preparation to occupy hers until she returned from her evening consultation. Constitutional? Not every long-haul freighter captain ran their ship like a military vessel. Hedda had seen starships with stained floors and leaking pipes and cracks in their cockpit windows, lapses that speared her to her very soul. But Hedda Cassette, we're going to call her Hajib Jajada. Hajib Jajada actually sounds pretty cool. Hajib Jajada. Hajib Jajada. Actually, having a last name Jajada actually sounds pretty cool. So, but Hedda Cassette began her career as a fighter pilot with the Malistar Solist Joint Task Force, keeping order in their little sector of the mid-rim. She started out on flying an Incom Z-24, the single-seat fighter everyone just called a buzzbug. Okay, that sounds stupid, but you know what? People give it the weirdest names, so I'm okay with that. It's like, there's some weird names that everybody gives nicknames to, so... yeah. Mostly police action missions, hunting down pirates and the like. Eventually, though, she rose to command a heavy cruiser, one of the largest vessels in the fleet. A good career, doing good work. She left, again, that's I wouldn't say that's more patting her on the back. She's giving a little bit of a, you could probably save this. Maybe you could have, because, I want to change it. Not because it's bad, but just for personal reasons. Like, I would love to, if you were to make this into a visual, what you could do, like into a movie, a TV show, an anime, or some sort of cartoon, you could have it where she has a replica of each and every single vehicle she's ever been in, and only those who have actually read the book will understand. I think that's pretty good of an idea. You can see them on the shelf as she's looking through her notes. It could be in the background, and when she leaves, it could still be like maybe that cruiser is on the desk, or maybe the buzzbug is on the desk. That's pretty cool. So we're done with that one. She left Molest GTF with distinction, moved on to a job captaining. Is that a word? Captaining? To a job captaining. That just doesn't feel like a word. I need to look that up. No, I challenge you. I challenge you hard. I challenge you with the force. I challenge you with the dark side of the moon. Okay, captaining. It is a word. Holy bejeebers. Holy cow pie. Yeah, it's a word. A person who is at the head of or in authority over others. You know what? I applaud you, good sir, of writing good dialogue with good definitions. So, okay. Merchant vessels for the Burn Guild, which is pretty, actually, kind of cool. Her vision of a relaxed retirement. Okay, but 30 plus years in the military meant order and discipline weren't just in her blood. They were her blood. Okay. So every ship she flew now has run like it was about to fight a decisive battle against a Hutt armada, even if it was just carrying a load of Ogrut hides from World A to World B. This ship, the Legacy Run, was no exception. I gotta admit, again, the very beginning seems a little bit cringe, but when you start reading it, This is actually kind of a good story so far. Now, I might be shooting myself in the foot too early, but and I might get a lot of hate from a bunch of people, but that's not bad. Like, it's pretty good. Just personal preferences to change things. Hedda stood accepting and returning Lieutenant Jerry Bowman's snapped salute. She stretched, feeling the bones of her spine crackle and crunch. Okay. Too many years on patrol in tiny cockpits, too many high G maneuvers, sometimes in combat, sometimes just because it made her feel alive. Okay, I think you're making her out to be just a little, like, you should have stopped right here, okay? Right there. Let's just stop right there, and I think you would have been good. I think you're just laying it on a little bit too much here. Like, she's an amazing person. We got it. So the real problem, though, she thought, tucking a stray strand of gray hair behind one ear is too many years. She left. Wait. Okay, here's a good story. Maybe she actually has had too many years, and she's been trained, or more importantly, conditioned in the old ways. That's one story that you could experience. That's that she is just too much like of a military type of person, that she goes a little bit beyond the authority structure and actually not harms people, but she may give an impression to other people who are not within her military structure as to her being a hard ass. That's something I'd love to see. That maybe nobody in the military likes her except for those who are dedicated, who serve her on her ship. No one believes that until they actually have seen her in combat. You know how amazing of a story that would be? You could have her, that she gets off of a ship. She comes in with her whatever vehicle she's in right now. I think she's like in the huge gigantic ship, whatever it was called. And when she docks into a huge station, maybe on Coruscant, and she's going to be she has a meeting with, because of her stance and her ability, is going to have a meeting with the High Council, not the High Council, the Jedi Order. Gosh, freaking dang it, the Jedi Order. And when they land and everybody starts unloading or refueling and stuff, see, I'm having more of a brain fart because I don't know why. I'm having a brain fart. Like my mind kind of just looked like. I don't know why. That when they unload, the crewmen, no, everybody at the station is talking behind their back and everything, but everybody on that ship looks hard ass. They look like legitimate. Now, I'm not going to say like legitimate quote unquote Yahtzees. I just don't want to be quote unquote not demonetized, but okay, Nazis. Hopefully that's okay. But Yahtzees. And they look so official, they look strict, they look hard-assed, they look tough. And every single person around the station is gossiping, talking behind their back. And these people are overhearing them, and they actually respond to, or they don't even respond. Or one of them actually starts, like, is about to smack them, but is caught by one of the other people and says, no, not here. Don't do that. And what he means by that, what we will learn later, is that don't solely the captain's good name when the other two guys leave. So they have this presence of authoritarian. But if you've been on the ship with her through thick and thin and battle, you can tell that when she makes a decision, she makes it because she has good intention. She doesn't sacrifice people unnecessarily. And when she does, she might give the order at times. Not give them the option if you want to go. Says, this is what has to happen in this one situation. And when she explains herself, no, because she's the captain, she doesn't. Or maybe after, it's like, if you want to be on the ship, this is what you have to do. Maybe there's like a rigorous training program to get onto her ship. And it's not just I don't know. Be kind of interesting, though. I'd love to see more about that type of aspect about her ship, rather than just being a military crew. They're actually just a little bit too uptight, but they're very effective in what they do and what type of conquests they have to have. But this isn't that type of story. I understand. It'd just be kind of cool. She left the bridge, departing the precise machine of her command deck, and walking around a compact corridor into the larger, more chaotic world of the Legacy Run. The ship was a Kniff Yard Class A modular freight transport. Like, I know what that is. Okay. Almost as old as she was. You could have put that. The ship, cut off the Class A modular freight transport. Okay. You could put that in like I don't know, that just seems a little weird. Almost as old as she was. I like that. That put the craft a bit past her ideal operational life, but well within safe parameters if she was well maintained in a regular service and regular serviced, which she was. Her captain saw to that. Okay. The Run was a mixed-use ship. Screw this. This is kind of boring. The particular trip, in comparison, was as simple as they came. The Legacy Run's cargo sections were about 80% filled with settlers heading to the Outer Rim from overpopulated core and colony worlds, seeking new lives and new opportunities, new skies. She could relate to that. Hedda Cassette had been restless all her life. She had feeling... Okay, I'm not a fan of this. Okay, this seems like just to be a bunch of deposition, if I'm using that word correctly, just a bunch of narrative dump, a bunch of plot dump. It's like, well, then this is why she's doing what she does. She does this because of this, this, and this. It's like, okay, jump into the story, and then we can make our assumptions ourselves. It feels just like a bunch of narrative plot dump. Which again, this would be more of a, how it seems so far. This is what you would write on paper before you actually wrote the story. Like when we got into it, it was good, but then they just kept going into greater details, which it's okay. Get into the plot. Get into the story itself. The story is not about, oh, she cracked her back because she was so tired of all the years that she's done things. You know what? You can simplify that by saying at the very beginning. Okay? It just seems a little thick with, I want you to get this exactly. It's a little off for me. Hedda exited the corridor and entered the center hole, emerging in a large circular space. And we just jumped ahead a lot because that just seemed a little boring. Let's go back. Let's go back all the way. Yeah, because I don't want to miss anything. The Run was a mixed-use ship related to the cargo and passengers, hence modular. Wait, is that? No, this one. Almost as old as she was, put the craft operational. Okay. So the Run was a mixed-use ship rated for both cargo and passengers, hence modular in designation. It was composed by again, this just seems like a bunch of descriptors that you don't have to talk about. It's a little off. It was composed by a huge central compartment shaped like a long triangular prism with engineering aft and the rest of the space allotted for cargo. The bridge connected to the central hole via long boom arms, one of which she was traversing at the very moment. Additional smaller modules could be attached to the central section, up to 144, swapped in and out at the yard depending on what was needed for a given run. Okay? I want the story. Like, we have it... It's, again, great beginning about her. I don't care about the ship. Hedda liked the ship's variable qualities. Why more about the ship? Shut up about the ship! Ship's variable qualities, because it meant you never knew what you were going to get. What weird challenges you might face from one job to the next. She had flown the ship once when... its cargo allotted was reconfigured into a huge water tank to carry a gigantic saberfish from the storm seas of Spira to the private aquarium of a countess on Abrigado. Hedda and her crew had gotten the beast there safely. Not an easy gig. Even harder though was getting the creature back to Spira 3 cycles later when the blasted thing got sick because the blasted thing got sick. Is this narrative? Okay, is this a narrative, like somebody's talking to us, or is this more of a descriptor? Because that just seems out of place. Because it sounded as though he was just describing things to us, which is okay. I don't like it, but it's okay. But then even harder, though, was getting the creature back to Spira 3 cycles later, when the blasted thing got sick because the countess people had no idea how to take care of it. Again, that seems more like this is more of a narration. This doesn't seem like a storyteller telling us a story. It seems like as though she is telling us. I don't know. This just seems weird because, okay. She gave the woman credit though. She paid full freight to send the saberfish home. A lot of people, nobles especially, would have just let it die. Whoa, wait. Oh my gosh. Okay. Again, because I have this a frame of like caring and sharing. More importantly, you're talking to 5-year-olds, and I have this SJW thing, the framework in the back of my mind. Nobles are bad. But that's a good that's a stereotype. It's like the nobles especially would have just let them die. Okay, it feels weird. You're gonna go after the elites. It's like if you are in the Republic, you are the elite. It's like if you're somebody who's enforcing the rules, you're an elite. You're that person who's enforcing a rule. You're a person of such high... It just feels weird. It's not wrong. It's just weird. It's off. Okay, it's wrong. I'll say it. It just feels wrong to me. This particular trip in comparison was as simple as they come. The Legacy Run's cargo sections were about 80% filled with settlers heading to the Outer Rim from overpopulated core and it doesn't make sense. The Legacy's cargo sections were about 80% filled with settlers heading to the Outer Rim from overpopulated core and colony worlds. Okay, seeking new lives and new opportunities, new skies. She could relate to that. Hedda Cassette had been restless all her life. How is being restless coming from an overpopulated core and colony worlds the same? Well, more importantly, she could relate to that. It's not that it's that they're going to go seek new opportunities, new skies, new worlds, new lives. That's what she relates to. Okay. So she had a feeling she'd die that way too, looking out. Okay, if you have something that says like she had a feeling she'd die that way too, maybe is that something, is this going to happen to her? I don't know. Hoping her eyes would land on something she'd never seen before. Because this was a transport run, most of the ship's modules were basic passenger configurations, with open seating that converted into beds. Wait. So it's a military-ran crew with a passenger ship. Okay, no, that could work. Okay, I was just trying to piece those two things together. We're basic passengers and with open seating and converted into beds that were, in theory, comfortable enough to sleep in. Holy shit! You are the elite! Holy crap! You know what would be amazing? Oh my gosh! No, I gotta take a moment. Oh my gosh! Oh! Holy crap, dude! You are the elite! Holy crap! Okay, I'm gonna fix this paragraph because complaining about the nobles especially would just let them die. Also, our ship has every convenience you can think of. It's like if... Sanitary facilities. Let me say that again. Facilities. Huh. Like, small galleys... Holy crap, you're literally elites. Some had droid-operated auto canteens and private sleeping compartments, but not many. But these people were frugal. This doesn't seem frugal. That seems like a freaking legit place. Holy crap. Okay. This is high society right here. If you really want to make this place like the way that it is, it's just... I might be complaining over nothing, but gosh, that's just... What you have on this ship is amazing. I don't think you can run a crew like that unless you have a very good, well-funded ship that people would tolerate the type of behavior for that. But it doesn't have to be amazing. It doesn't have to be sparkly. But maybe it's a bit inconvenient for the people who are on board, but the inconvenience was what makes it cheap. But if you're going to say, it's like, how are you funding this ship? It's like, oh, the High Republic's funding it. Where'd they get their money? From nobles? It's like, oh, the stupid nobles, now give me your money. It's like, it's just, again, if this was translated into visuals, I would not want to see them with, anything fancy. I would love to see them with maybe it's just a little crappy, but a little crappy. It doesn't have to be great, it doesn't have to be piss poor, but again, if you're gonna be a passenger ship, it's okay. But if you're gonna complain about the nobles, you don't showcase how amazing your ship is. Gosh, you well-funded rich woman. So now again, oh my gosh, these people were frugal. If they had money to begin with, they probably wouldn't be heading to the Outer Rim to try to escape out of future. Okay. Gosh, man, I just probably have a bunch of issues myself. Who knows? The dark edge of the galaxy was a place for challenges both exciting and deadly. More deadly than exciting, in truth. Why are these people going to a place that's legitimately deadly to seek a livelihood? Okay, wait. If it's overpopulated, and the population is not going down, the only direction that the population will be going towards is the Outer Rim. Okay? You see where the issue is? They're probably going to have to conquer the Outer Rim. It's just... It's not that like, hey, do you see the issue here? It's just, I'm having an issue here. If there's a bunch of people that are headed to the Outer Rim because of overpopulation, population tends to continue growing. It doesn't stop. People tend to repopulate. They really do. So if there's a bunch of people going to get out of the Rim because of exciting... The dark edge of the galaxy was a place of both challenges, both exciting and deadly. More deadly than exciting in truth. So these people are desperate to go to the Outer Rim where they could possibly die. Okay? It's good. I'm having an issue with the entire story. I'm bothered by it. But this is actually this is the story that I wanted to hear. It's not an amazing place. And I'd love to hear more about that. I truly would. Even the road to get out here was okay. So I was having a hissy fit, so I apologize about that. I was just having a hissy fit. So even the road to get out here is tricky, Hedda thought, her gaze drawn by the swirl of hyperspace around the large porthole she happened to be passing. She snapped her eyes away, knowing she could end up standing there for 20 minutes if she let herself get sucked in. Okay, you could simplify that sentence by saying, she snapped her eyes away, from knowing that she could be hypnotized by it so easily or something. It's just, okay. You couldn't trust hyperspace. It was useful. You couldn't trust hyperspace. It was useful, sure, but it got you from here to there. It was the key to the expansion of the Republic out from the core, but no one really understood it. If your Navid droid miscalculated the coordinates even a little, you could end up off the marked route, the main road through whatever hyperspace actually was. And then you'd be on a dark path leading to who knew where. It happened even in the well-traveled hyperlanes near the galactic center and out there where the prospectors had barely mapped out any routes. Well, it was something you had to keep an eye on. Okay. She put it out of her mind and continued on her way. The truth was, the Legacy run was currently speeding along the most well-traveled. Why? Oh my gosh. It's just, it's not contradicting. I think on paper it sounds great. It just, to tell the story, why are you saying that the miscalculation from the droid could lead you off hyperspace? If you mention it, it better happen in the future. But the Legacy run was what was currently speeding along the most well-traveled, well-known route in the Rim worlds. This was a milk run. Ships moved along this hyperlane constantly in both directions, nothing to worry about. Well, if there was nothing to worry about, why'd you bring it up? It would be amazing to have the story, again, at least in my own right, is to tell the story through she's talking about how I think she's the narrator, not the guy who wrote the story, but she as the captain is actually telling the story, just from that one line from earlier, the blasted things. Is that maybe she's talking about how this Navidroid, any miscalculation or coordinates, can actually end you up somewhere else. Well, I mean, I think it would be a good idea if in the next place is like the unfortunate thing is that we had to take this route that's a non-well known traveled route. What is it called? A speed run? Hyperlane? Yeah, hyperlane. That the hyperlane that they were in is an unknown, non-well traveled place, and maybe they get off coordinates, and then she has to take command of her ship, take command of the ship that she has a bunch of people who are military trained, and she gets through it successfully unscathed. It's not that she dominates the other force; it's just that she's able to react and respond to it. That would be amazing. That would be amazing of a story. I'd love to see that. And she gets back onto the hyperlane, and then she gets to her course, her destination. Again, that would, show, don't tell. She's amazing at what she does, but all I've been told is that she's amazing. Because I've been told that. It's like, I'd love to see that. And it's, I think, a cool thing that you could do at the very beginning of the ship. Beginning of the story. So... But more than 9,000 souls aboard the ship were depending on Captain Hedda Cassette to get them safely to their destination. How could she worry? Oh my gosh, this story is actually giving me, not a headache, but it's ruining me. She put it out of her mind and continued on her way. The truth was, the Legacy Run was continued speeding along the most traveled, well-known route to the Rim Worlds. This was a milk run. If it's a milk run, you don't worry. It's like, guys, this is what we do. It's like we're cautious, but we don't worry. And it's like, ships moved along the hyperlane constantly in both directions, nothing to worry about. But she worried. It's just weird. It's like, I kind of get what you're going for, but it's like, if this is a milk run and there's nothing to worry about, specifically shipping people over and over and over and over again, it's nothing to worry about. You have the caution. You should have the precautions in place. You should have any and all security measures in place. You have done this over and over and over. It's not something that you should be worrying about at all. I don't get that. Okay? It's like, oh, she's a very caring person. Yeah, I get that. You explained that earlier when she cared about her ship, the people on board, where she was going. You already worried? Okay. Hedda exited the corridor and entered the central hole, emerging in a large circular space, an open spot necessitated by the ship's structure that had been repurposed as a sort of unofficial common area. A group of children kicked a ball around as adults stood and chatted nearby. If you have a place that has a big enough place to play ball in, you have a pretty good place. It's a pretty good ship. Like... my goodness. So as adults stood and chatted nearby, or as stretched out in the zone where was different than the zone in which they awakened every morning. The space wasn't fancy, it seems like that, just a bare junction spot where several short corridors met, but it was clean. Okay, so it was fancy. If it's clean, again, the emphasis that it was clean emphasizes that it doesn't have to be quote-unquote fancy. But again, it gives it that there's a difference between it being rustic and it being clean. Because if you're emphasizing over and over that it's clean, it's a bit fancy actually. If you're on a military ship, not many people can get onto that ship. I don't see how that can be a possibility. And if she's well funded, it's not that just anybody can get on the ship. It's that if it's, again, it seems kind of a contradiction. That's kind of the issue, is that it's not fancy, but the military crew are kept in line or something. It's like, when something happens, it's like if you're on a ship that is, you drop something, you spill a soda, somebody snaps their fingers and somebody goes and cleans it up. You are on a fancy ship. It's like, it just... Okay. The ship employed The ship employed, at its captain's insistence, an automated maintenance crew that kept the interiors neat and sanitary. It's a fancy ship! Ah, man. One of Custodia droids was spidering its way all along the wall at the very moment, performing one of the endless tasks required on the ship the size of the run. Okay. She took a moment to take a stock of this group, 20 people or so, all ages from a number of worlds. Humans, of course, but also a few scaled-skinned Trandoshans, Tyrannosaurus or something. You have to put the word Tran in there. Oh, a family of birth, and even an Ortolan. Those are actually cool names. Blue skin and long snout and big ponderous flaps protruding from the side of its head. You didn't see many of those around, but no matter their planet of origin, they were all just ordinary people. They're not people! Gosh! They're not people. Again, people would be resounding into either, if you're talking about a humanoid, it's like they're just people. It's like, gosh, they're... okay. This is... Again, I have the framework in the back of the head of just like this SJW, and it's like, oh my gosh, this orc is a person. It's like, no, it's not. It's like, okay, you know what? No, I'm probably wrong there. It's like they're just ordinary people. But you call them ordinary people. By the very definition that you gave is not ordinary. Well, these blue skin, long snout, and the big ponderous flaps protruding around its head is not normal. It's not ordinary. You even went out of your way to describe you did see many of those around. It's like, but they're ordinary people. Ordinary people with ordinary... How can they be ordinary if people who look like that can't be ordinary? Like, that's a beautiful thing. I'd love to see maybe, like, do they speak English? do they just, like, ordinary people? It's like, it's weird how everyone's a person. It's like, it's just weird. Oh my gosh. Okay, one of the kids looked up. Captain Cassette, the boy said. A human olive-skinned with red hair. She knew him. Hello, Serge, Hedda said. What's the good word? Everything all right here? The other children stopped their game and clustered around her. Okay, so apparently she's great, like... Oh my gosh. Oh, I know what they're going for here, but it's... Oh my gosh. I cannot survive this thing. Okay. Could use some new holes, Serge said. We've watched it's just the children stopped their game and clustered around her. It just feels like, oh, she's this amazing military person who's strict with her rules. Also, she's so kind and gentle to the children. It's like, you kind of have to have one or the other. It's just weird. It's weird. You're trying to make her to be so much. It's like, where are her flaws? Like, though in the movie Billions. Okay, let me look that up. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. In the TV show Billions, I loved the first season. I hated the second season because how it started out was just the same way that they're going with this story. The main character in the second season is a shaved head, gender fluid but non-binary woman, and they describe her amazingness in the second season to be like, oh yeah, I did. They talk about all the wonderful things that she did for 5 minutes. Like, really? Like, you couldn't just show it, and that's what turned me off from the show. The first show had a billionaire who was extravagant and amazing, but it's something that I couldn't find the scene, but after he talks really big game with these two gentlemen, where are they? Yeah, with these two gentlemen right here, they work for him because he works in not an index fund, the thing where you give all your money and they go out and invest in stuff, a firm. And when after he gives some like phenomenal advice to gain like $1 million within like 10 seconds, he gives them that idea. He helps them out within 2 minutes. He's like, oh, he's this hotshot. The next scene is him going into the bathroom in the dark, and he's looking at them in the mirror with the one faded light that's above him, and he's just looking at himself like there's a mystery, there's something else there. But in this story, it's just that she's amazing. She's amazing at everything. It's like I want to see a flaw from her. And again, it doesn't feel like it's an SJW woke. If you go woke, you go broke. It doesn't feel cringy. This entire story. It's like you're talking to a 5-year-old and you're telling her that and telling them that story. It's just I want to see a flaw from her because she's too perfect. I like characters with flaws, and then to overcome those flaws. Maybe she is too strict. Maybe she's too caring. Maybe she's too this, or all of this has is a weight on her back, and she doesn't have to be flawed in everything. I just want to see I want to see a weakness. I want to see something that makes her vulnerable. I want to see something that humanizes her. I haven't seen anything that humanizes her. You could relate with her, but I haven't seen anything that brings her down a peg. Not to knock her off of her pedestal or something, whatever, like if I'm using the right words. It's like I want to see her maybe struggle with something. And I know this is the very first chapter, but you could have it where she, from the story that we had earlier, where they were on a hyper run. They were on a hyper run, whatever it's called, a hyper tube space thingy, and it was on a unknown or non-well-known travel point, but she calculated the risks and said like, okay, we got to take these risks, and then when she goes through that, she took responsibility that if anything happens, it's on me. And when she goes down that tube, maybe a miscalculation happens, she gets out of it, and there's invaders that have tracked her down, or maybe she's really close to a space in like an invading place, and those invaders come over and start trying to wreak havoc. But she takes command of the ship. She does what she can, what she possibly can, and she gets out of there unscathed. And the human moment is that she made a mistake, and then she overcame it. And that's the beautiful part. Here, it's just like everything's hunky-dory. The ship, but they were alive. No they were alive, no impact. The ship was alive. The tiniest tweak from the left control stick, so back was at the helm, so she could not fail her ship. Saw an obstacle. Okay, so there's actually something that does happen. The Legacy run was no warship, not even close, but Hedda flew it like one. She saw an obstacle in her path with her fighter pilot's eye and instinct, saw it advancing at an incredible velocity, large enough for both her ship and whatever it would be disintegrated into atoms. Really? Okay. Dust drifting forever through the hyperlanes. Okay, wait, if something's going after you, so it's not. Oh my gosh. Oh, fuck. Oh my gosh. Ah. Really? Oh, I'm done with this story. Oh, I'm so done with this story. Let's zoom in a lot more. Let's zoom in so much more. Let's zoom in all the way. Let's zoom in even more. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. I don't know if you can read that. I don't know if you read that. Hedda did not fail her ship. It failed her. The groan of an overstressed metal became a scream. Oh, I so can sympathize with that. Oh my gosh. In the Batwoman show, in the CW Batwoman throws a batarang. And the issue is that it was not calibrated to her, so the issue was with the batarang, not with her skill or ability. Hedda did not fail her ship. It failed her. Holy fuck. These are horrible lessons that you teach to a child. These are horrible lessons. They're so horrible. No, Hedda did everything that she could, and she still failed. Okay? She was driving a ship. Earlier, she said even that it was an old ship, but was within parameters of safety. I'm assuming something broke with the ship. Well, it was the ship's fault. Really? Holy crap, what a shitty captain. It's not Hedda, it's the ship. It's like I couldn't had any fault whatsoever. A good captain is very well of the mistakes that she makes. And this entire story is about telling it to 5-year-olds. And you don't tell those type of stories to 5-year-olds. So literally they're telling Hedda did everything in her power. It was not the ship. She did everything that she could. It was the ship that failed her. Oh my gosh. You want to have... Oh, fuck. No! No! You don't do that in story writing. That's not good story writing. The story writer sucks. It's Hedda did everything that she possibly could. It failed her. The groan of an overstressed metal became a scream. Oh my gosh. She's just perfect. Oh, imagine this. Imagine if Rey in the Last Jedi or was fighting the evil main character, whatever the Emperor guy is, whatever the Sith Lord name. And in the room, she fights him, and her lightsaber... No, she's fighting Rey. No, she's fighting, Kylo. She's fighting Kylo. And Kylo Ren, I think, is his name? Yeah, let's go with Kylo. And she's fighting Kylo, and her lightsaber goes out. And then it's explained as though the lightsaber failed on her. Bitch, you made the lightsaber! If not, it's somebody else's lightsaber. You didn't maintain that lightsaber. What did you do that made the lightsaber go out? It was the lightsaber's fault. Bullshit! That's not a good story. That's a horrible plot, man. You don't ever do this in story writing. Oh, it was someone else's fault. It wasn't her. You even went out of your way to say that. It wasn't that something broke on the ship. If it broke on the ship, you're freaking well aware that the ship was broken. You specifically said that it wasn't her fault. You are not... Oh my god! Oh, this is so horrible writing. This is not real. Wow! Oh my gosh! Oh, okay. I'm done. This is done. I've hit my hour quota. I am so out of here. This story is shit. It's stupid. I loved where it was going, but the moment you do this at any point in your story writing, where you emphasize how the person who was at the command of the ship, the person who has responsibilities, has no fault on herself. It's not that she decided to keep an old ship and it was still within parameters, but it was still an old ship. She chose to drive an old ship, but it wasn't her fault. Oh my gosh. Oh, you stupid Lucasfilms. Oh, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Whatever your name is that created Star Wars. I even forgot his name. I'm done. I am so done with Star Wars. This is shit writing, man. That sucks. So let's leave it off let's not leave it off with that. What would be a better story writing, or more importantly, what would be a story you would love to tell? Maybe with the same characters, maybe with the same plot. Maybe there's something else within the High Republic, or the High Republic are actually evil, but they're not evil. Maybe it's complicated. Maybe it's just that they're trying to do good, but they actually do evil. Maybe they're trying to do evil, but they wind up being the good guys. Ooh, now that would be awesome. And anybody in Star Wars, the federal, not the Federalists, the Separatists, the Sith the Sith who were the Separatists, I think, who were the villains, that were rebelling against the Republic's orders and stuff. That they were literally just like, hey, keep us out of y'all's United Nations BS. We don't care. We're not part of it. And then now they're the bad guys. It's like, guys, I don't want to be part of the system. It's corrupted. And the Sith, the villains, the Sith, became the good guys, helping the Separatists. The Separatists weren't evil. They were saying no. So I think that's correct in storyline. I might have the names wrong, but that's what sets up in the Clone Wars. That narrative, it's amazing. Again, the bad guys are the good guys, surprisingly. But they're still the bad guys objectively. It's just that they're a good guy to somebody else. And they claim, they wave the white flag. They don't want battle. It's just the only people that will help them are the bad guys. The people who are being helped by the bad guys are not bad guys. So if you destroy the actual bad guys, they'll view you as the bad guy. So you could probably create a story like that. It'd be awesome. But you don't tell story writings with, she did all she could. It was never her fault. She's perfect. Shit. Stupid. Horrible. Evil. Dumb. Stupid. Stupid. It's stupid. Oh my gosh. Oh, thanks for hanging out. That was fun, I guess. Who knows? Oh my gosh.